Hello, I'm Miss Melissa. Today I'm going to be reading 3 stories from the Telltale Lilac Bush and Other West Virginia Ghost Tales by Ruth Ann Musick. These were all stories that Ruth Ann Musick and her students compiled by actually asking people that they knew to tell of stories that they had heard all their lives. So these are all supposed to be true stories of ghosts that people actually saw in Appalachia, sometimes as far as Pennsylvania or Kentucky, but mainly in West Virginia. The first one I'm going to read is called The Phantom Soldier. During World War I, a young soldier from West Virginia was engaged to be married to a beautiful young girl. But he was called into the army sooner than he had expected. He was sent to Germany. After he had gone, his older brother persuaded the girl that the soldier had not loved her after all, and married her himself. On Christmas Eve, the soldier returned unexpectedly. A full moon lighted the sky, but the house on the hill, surrounded by pines where his brother lived, seemed dark. The soldier knocked, and his older brother let him in, though he was obviously not pleased to see him. The wife was upstairs. The two brothers talked for a few minutes. The older brother admitted that he had married the girl for her money and position, and added that if the other interfered, he would not hesitate to kill him. The soldier left, but returned in a short while with a revolver and shot his older brother. He then left the house as quietly as he had come. The young wife, hearing the shot, rushed downstairs to find her husband dying on the floor. He told her what had happened. Though the police, after she called them, made a thorough search, they could find no trace of the soldier. On Christmas Day, a telegram arrived, addressed to her husband. It announced that his brother had been killed in action on December 21st. And on December 24th was when he supposedly showed up and killed the brother. The second story I'm going to read is called Shiny Eyes. My father, born in Italy and the oldest of 4 children, decided to do something to help the family, and in 1913 he came to the United States. Relatives from the Pennsylvania coal fields were waiting in New York City to take him back with them. They found him a job, and he immediately went to work in an anthracite mine located in Ligonier, Pennsylvania, and owned and operated by a Colonel Thomas. During the first year that he worked at the drift mine, a strange animal started appearing. It would walk to the mouth of the slope, look inside, then turn around and go back to its lair in the mountain. About 15 minutes after the animal had appeared, 2 or 3 men would get killed by a slate fall. The animal was about 8 feet long, 5 feet high, and about the same color as a mouse. It had 2 large eyes that shone like the headlights of a powerful automobile. Because of its 2 large eyes, the animal came to be known as Shiny Eyes. As many as 10 men at one time had shot at it as it slowly and warily walked from the mountain to the mine, and then from the mine back to the mountain. They could not seem to hurt or kill Shiny Eyes, because it would just turn around, look at the men who were shooting at it, and then proceed to its mountain lair. This began to trouble the miners as well as the mine owner. Something had to be done to rid the community of the bad luck which Shiny Eyes was causing. The only solution was to get rid of Shiny Eyes. Colonel Thomas thought that he could make the necessary arrangements to do this. He made a deal with 2 brothers, Bill and Jack Robinson, who were supposed to be the meanest men in the mining town. He offered each of them $300 in cash if they would kill Shiny Eyes. He would also give each one of them a high-powered rifle, a jug of whiskey, and pay them a day's wages. The 2 brothers accepted the offer, got their supplies together, and proceeded to a small shack that was located along the trail that Shiny Eyes always used. There they waited for it to appear, but before long they had consumed their whiskey and were drunk. Jack decided to go into town to purchase another gallon of whiskey and left Bill at the shack to watch for Shiny Eyes. While Jack was gone, Bill fell asleep. He was suddenly awakened by a loud noise at the door. He looked up and fainted at the sight of Shiny Eyes. There it was, standing in the doorway, with its two shining eyes brightly glaring. It was not concerned with Bill and proceeded to the mine. When Jack returned to the shack, he found Bill lying on the floor. He revived Bill, and the two then prepared to shoot Shiny Eyes as it returned to the mountain. Meanwhile, Shiny Eyes had gone to the mine and walked down the slope about 50 yards, turned around, and walked out. When it got outside, it looked down the slope once more. It then turned around and started walking back to its mountain lair. As it started up the mountain trail, Bill and Jack started shooting at it, but the bullets from the high-powered rifles did not seem to bother it. About an hour after Shiny Eyes appeared, the mine exploded and 22 men were killed. This was the worst explosion that had ever occurred at the mine, but afterward, Shiny Eyes was neither seen nor heard of again. The third story that I'm going to read is called Vinegar Hill. About the time of the settling of Benton's Ferry, on top of Vinegar Hill, near the Vincent Cemetery, lived several brothers. Down the river a little way was a large brick inn, used as a way station by railroadmen and cattlemen. When the old inn was filled to capacity, the spirits flowed freely, and the merrymaking could be heard all along the river on a still summer evening. The brothers, who lived on the hill, specialized in making cider vinegar, which some of the cattlemen would deliver for them when they drove a herd of cattle through to the eastern markets. One night, during a heavy thunderstorm, as one of the brothers was going down the hill with a wagon load of barrels, the old mule suddenly stopped, and the topmost barrel rolled off onto the driver, pinning him to the ground. His howls and groans soon brought his brothers to his aid, and as they had been sampling the vinegar quite frequently that day, they were feeling good. Instead of lifting the barrel off, they just gave it a push and let it roll. The poor man was mashed twice as long and wide as before, and of course soon went to his final resting place in the old graveyard. Since that time, on dark stormy nights, when the thunder rolled and rumbled around the hill, anyone who happened to be caught walking up the hill would see first two large black spots that looked like eyes, and then, very slowly, a cloud of white mist would arise from the road and surround the spots. Then, with a cackling sound, the mist would take the form of a huge, flat man, who would beckon the person to follow, all the time staggering about, sometimes falling, and sometimes dancing along in front, screaming like a banshee, and clapping its flattened hands until it reached the top of the hill. There, with the accompaniment of a sound like hundreds of barrels rolling down the hill, it would give one last cackle and disappear in the graveyard. After the death of the brothers, there was no more vinegar made on the hill, and the merrymaking at the inn ceased. And those are 3 stories from the Telltale Lilac Bush and other West Virginia ghost tales, written and compiled by Ruth Ann Musick.